facing head-on the emotions beneath the surface as we bridge from an old world of confusion and lack to a beautiful new world of freedom, abundance, and love with straightforward truth and inspired hope is what you'll find on The Charla Anderson Show. Collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating. Here's your host, Charla Anderson.
Well, good, beautiful day, you beautiful, beautiful souls. This is Charla Anderson, host of The Charla Anderson Show, collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating, especially you. So excited to have my friend Sue Welch started ChainMeet, and we're going to learn all about that and how she overcame so much stuff. But first, we're going to do my wonderful little 22-second mini vacation. So we're going to breathe in some calm for 7 seconds. We're going to hold it for 4 seconds and breathe out gratitude for 11 seconds. So here we go. Can you join me? Breathe in some calm. Hold, release. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I think if we did that a few more times in our day, we would have a little bit less stress, don't you?
True.
So we, Sue and I met at Bree Talks, and that's with Terry Lee Harrison, and we've had such a beautiful explosion of that speakers group. It's really been great. But we met at a live event, and then we had a ChainMeet, which is we're going to learn what that means and how it can impact you and your world. And very excited to have Sue here today. And I want to just welcome you, and thank you for taking your time to join us today and get to know Sue and ChainMeet. So Sue, let's just learn a little bit about who you are in this world and then we'll talk about what you do.
Well, hello to you again. I enjoyed our time together. I am Sue. I am a happy wife of almost 44 years. I am happy because he's still putting up with me. He's a good guy. But I'm also a happy mom of 2 amazing sons. I have 2 amazing daughters in love. Couldn't ask for more. And I'm a happy G-mom. But I am very blessed. And unfortunately, sometimes even though I've been very blessed, I have always struggled with self-image issues. Lack of self-confidence. And it was just something that my friend said to me and my husband said to me that kind of woke me up and made me rethink that I need to change and I need to change my life and change my attitude and just change my outlook on things. I'm also a registered nurse. I'm retired. I worked with surgical patients in the hospital and used to teach childbirth classes. But now I have ChainMeet.
Now you have what? ChainMeet. ChainMeet's your baby. So ChainMeet, one word, ChainMeet.org.
Okay.
If you're going to be checking this out, because it's when someone gets a vision and they follow through with it and it becomes something, you're the founder, it's your baby, like you were saying. And I know you've got 2 grandbabies too, right? So, and I mean, the babies are everything to us.
Yes.
But when you have worked so hard, so maybe give us a little bit about what ChainMeet is for, or what it is, or what it does. And you also have a book called ChainMeet
to Inspire Forward.
ChainMeet to Inspire Forward. So it's a little bit different concept, and I think it's why not? Let's hear about it.
Yeah, it was born from my struggles, and I think a lot of us secretly struggle with self-doubts, lack of confidence, and we don't want anyone to know that we're going through these struggles, but that's where a lot of our anxieties and depression came from. And it just got worse and worse, for several various reasons. That growing up, I just felt worthless and dumb, being called a moron, being called blonde airhead, ditzy, you name it. Well, that sticks with you. And even into adulthood, even though I should think I would know better, but it does kind of stick. And my husband said to me one day, my husband is a very smart man. Well, I went to him for a little bit of sympathy, and he said, Sue, get over yourself. It's not all about you. Well, imagine being told that. But I mean, yeah, it hurt, but I really did know he was right. And I really knew that I had to do something. So I did some self-help programs and just different solutions, got stuck. They didn't really do anything. But in the meantime, during that time, God gave me a dream, and God speaks to me a lot in dreams. He teaches me things. Well, he gave me a dream of having a website that would help other people like me who also have these same struggles. But I'm struggling. What am I supposed to do with this? I don't know how to do this. So I tried doing it myself and just kind of didn't know what I was doing. And then one day, my life changed. My friend Gina just called me up one day and invited me to breakfast. And okay, that made my day. I was in a depressed funk, discouraged, but now I had something to look forward to. So she treated me like a queen. We met at the coffee shop. She treated me to coffee and toast, and that made me feel good too. But then she kept going. She just made me feel like the most important person in the world. And the way she treated me and listened to me and didn't brush off my fears and insecurities. I mean, I just kind of gave the poor lady everything I was thinking of, but she didn't brush them off. She encouraged me and affirmed me and made me believe in myself. And I really did feel like a changed person after that. So, but it was a couple weeks later that it hit me on just what she did and how she did it. So I practiced that. And I realized that she took something just so ridiculously simple, seemingly insignificant, just a simple coffee date, but she transformed it. She made it into how my heart describes it is a soulful inspiration. And she just transformed me. That's really how I felt. And when I realized what she did and I saw her reaction doing it, I could tell she was enjoying encouraging me. And I realized, well, I can do that. I can treat my friends like she treated me, but would it work? So I did. I practiced. I treated my friends to one-on-ones, treated them to coffee. No, I couldn't afford a steak dinner, so I just treated them to coffee, something small. And when I focused on my friend and affirmed my friend, encouraged her, I listened to her. That really means something when someone listens to you. And I realized that when I could see how I could make her feel more confident and encouraged, I was feeling the same. It was coming back to me. And that's when the light came on. ChainMeet. Gina had treated me to the perfect ChainMeet. And when I did for others what she did for me, it was very liberating to know that I can make a difference in someone's life. Even though I was struggling with my own confidence, I helped somebody else. And the more I did that, the more that I experienced a reciprocal exchange of that affirmation and confidence. And I realized, there's something to this, loving others and then receiving it back in turn. So that's how ChainMeet was started. And that's why we focus on one-on-ones, because that is the most effective way, the easiest way, and actually the funnest way to make an impact in someone else's life.
That's so incredible. So I wonder, have you ever asked her if Gina had the forethought that was she just being her, or was she really trying to encourage you? And did she have the intention of the reaction she had?
She told me that she had no idea the impact she made in my life. And it was a while after that I told her what it was. And, I had to process a few things myself, even though I knew it was ChainMeet. And I just told her one day afterwards, and said, Gina, this is because of you. And I told her then what she did for me. I didn't tell her before that because I'm still processing it myself. And then she said, wow, no, she had no idea. But knowing Gina, that is the person she is. She is a very loving, encouraging, selfless person. And not all of us, unfortunately, are like that. That doesn't come easy to me, but it does to her. And I learned a lot from her.
I can only imagine. That's great. And one of my things I tend to say a lot is people don't love, it's like bullies are victims too, right? So people don't love themselves enough for whatever reason to know how to love and treat others. And when you don't have self-love, the scripture is like, love your neighbor as yourself. And if you can't love yourself, how are you going to love your neighbor?
Mm-hmm. this ChainMeet was, God gave me two scriptures for this. It was based mostly on Proverbs 27:17, which says, as iron sharpens iron, so one friend sharpens another. And the other one was in Hebrews, let's see, 10:24-25. Let us consider how to stimulate one another in love and in good deeds, not forsaking assembling together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging each other, and all the more as the days go by. And I realized what I had learned from Gina is others love. It's what I call it, others love, just focusing on them and then getting the reciprocity. So ChainMeet is founded on those two principles, others love and reciprocity, because when I affirm my friend, I feel affirmed in myself. And I did not learn that through a lot of the self-help programs out there. A lot of us do those, and I think they're great. But the problem I had with many of them, and I spent lots of money, I plunged myself into that world. Books, methods, mantras, rituals, programs, anything I could think of, because I was desperate to find. And the key word today is manifest. I needed to manifest self-love. But the problem I found with those is that they focused on what I call my me box, my little box of me, myself, and I. And I was instructed to prioritize myself. So every morning, wake up, look myself in the mirror, hug myself, give myself a high five, tell myself how great I am, recite all these positive affirmations and mantras. That was it. Everything, the whole shebang. And they did work. I mean, they're good. Affirmations and gratitude are good. They're important. We do need them. But it was the more I immersed myself in me. It was all about me. And it got to be the more I doubted myself and my worth, because it was getting really mechanical and forced and really fake. It really was self-defeating because it was just all about me. And the root of the problem lies within myself. How could myself be the solution? As in most of those therapies of trying to find self-love. And that's when that is about the time when Gina invited me to a breakfast and just changed all that, focusing on someone else.
So that is true. So I recognized this a little bit too late in my child rearing days. My son, my oldest, I was so concerned about his self-esteem and what's, and we didn't want to hurt his self-esteem. Don't tell, that pretty much BS that they taught us about, your child. When I finally realized your self-esteem is mostly all about you. It's your self-worth, your self-value comes from how you treat others and how you work with others, right? So that was a big idea I came up with somewhere. It evolved in my head from, I don't want to hurt his self-esteem, but I did. Now it's all about him, right? And instead of serving others and becoming a gracious friend and giver, instead of, it's all about me. So I get that. And I'm a personal development junkie from way back, high school, I'm sure. But, I was like, I'm high on life. I don't need anything, so I've always had that bent, that happy side, outrageously optimistic side, but it doesn't mean I was insecure as well, very insecure. And, I don't think I think most people have it. And that, the imposter syndrome or whatever it is, you fake it till you make it. But I agree with you about, if you're not believing what you're saying, when you say I'm wealthy and you're 15 cents in your bank account, you're lying, but I do believe, I'm not saying that not to say them, because I do believe they work. I think we're manifesting things in warp speed these days. I will think something and it shows up nowadays. So
yeah. But my husband is smart. And when I think of true friends, someone who loves you, they will be truthful with you. They won't just treat you like you're so fragile that you can't handle anything. And I needed that truth. I needed to hear from him. And it also, what you had said, made me think of social media. I love social media. I get caught up in scrolling, but the more I scroll through, I see all these filtered pictures and these filtered moments, and everybody just looks so perfect, like their life is just so great. So it ends up, I'm feeling worse about myself and dissatisfied with what I have, or really what I don't have. So at the end of the day, after so much of that, am I feeling better? With all that and with these self-helps, we should be on cloud nine, shouldn't we? We should be doing great, but it's not working. All these self-help and focusing on me is not working. I needed, and that's why with ChainMeet, that's why I promote others love, because I believe in others love and the reciprocity. Yeah, coming back to me, it's good, but that is what leads to genuine organic self-love. And also, as we reach out to others, it's also a societal impact, a genuine organic societal impact too, affecting the people around you.
Yeah, it raises the energy in the whole place when someone witnesses happy, and when my little candy bar hugs book, tiny book with a big message, right? So, but it was about offering a candy bar and a hug, and the one of the girls said, "Oh, nobody's ever offered me a candy bar before. That's the nicest thing anybody's ever done." And then I offered her a hug, and she said, "Oh, I had no idea. I mean, you have no idea. I just found out my mom is terminal today." And that's a story in my book, but it's very it doesn't take much to make a difference. I guess that's what I'm talking about. And that's what you're talking about. It doesn't take much. I mean, a candy bar and a hug, I can afford that. Even when I don't have enough for me, I can afford that. Or I didn't like the elbow bump base. So, but, and some people, there's another chapter, and we're talking a T90 book, right? I think that one, little book, big message. But it's like some people don't love themselves enough to even be able to receive, or they're so skeptical. Well, what's your agenda? So the idea for ChainMeet, here we go, is hey, let's go have some coffee. Come over, backdoor friends. Let's have some coffee or tea or a glass of wine or whatever it happens to be, to get out and be with people with skin on, right? We're on these machines all the time, but there's no human touch.
And this is good. I see you, but even with, so this is better than texting or better than social media because we're seeing each other. But at the same time, this is virtual. I'm looking at you, but I'm looking at an image. And there are still things that we miss. You only see me from here up. There's lots of body language going on that you're not seeing. And that's a lot of our conversation. We need to see each other, even face-to-face. Eye contact is a big thing, and what it does for us, it releases feel-good hormones when we're face-to-face. And something that I think we need to dispel is that people think that if I look you in the eye, I'm going to see everything about you, that I'm going to see inside your soul. And I found that very scary. So before, in the beginning of all this, I had a hard time being one-to-one, face-to-face, because that means I have to look at you and you have to look at me. And that was very uncomfortable. And then when I realized that, no, you can't see into my soul, I realized that it actually made me feel good being face-to-face, eye contact, because that showed me you care. And it showed me that you were engaged in our conversation and our connection. And see, the thing is, this is not rocket science. It's so simple. That's why I love your little book. It's something that's so simple. It doesn't cost hardly anything, really, a candy bar, a cup of coffee. But it's so simple and trite and cliche, but we tend to like things that are programmed, a method that costs $59.99 because that means it has value. But something just about giving yourself to someone has even more value. And you learn to, as you focus on others, you can learn that you can be your authentic self in doing that. And it's okay, because everybody can ask you, so, hey, how's your day today? Tell me about your project. What do you think about such and such? When you focus on the other person, you're not feeling self-conscious about yourself. And that's how I grew, is getting over myself. My husband told me. So, and
I love that too. Just get over yourself. And it's like, I say it a lot on here. If a complainer continues building tracks in their brain of more to be complaining about. They attract more to complain about. And after a while, nobody cares. I mean, it's like your husband was like, get over yourself. Who cares that? I mean, it's not all about you. I love that he was able to say that, and he probably felt bad saying it, but it was.
He still tells me that.
but it was life changing for you. So what if we started? This self focus about it. You offended me, and I'm a little over this spirit of it's a spirit of offense that people walk around with. And I had no idea you didn't like the color gray, blue. I mean, I didn't mean to wear it because I thought anyways, people don't know somebody else's idiosyncrasy, so to speak, our preferences or whatever, but you don't have to live there. You don't have to stay there. You may have your preferences, but you do not have to enforce them or have other people and be enforced to honor yours. Right. And authenticity. You said the word. I think I said on one of my shows, authenticity is a new sexy. And he's like, oh, I'm texting that to my wife. I was like, because it's real. And people are so attracted to genuine, honest, true people of integrity that people are attracted. I make a lot of friends in grocery stores. I don't go to the grocery store often, but Aldi's, I make friends in the store just because I feel like I'm open. Perhaps I'm open to, hey, how you doing? Kind of thing. And
even a smile.
Just a smile, or just, often we're just like, I'm in a hurry and all that, but taking a moment and having a small conversation, and man, can I give, here's the cart. You don't need a quarter. I'll let you, whoever, if you don't know about Aldi's, and I love it. I shopped there in Germany back when I was a flight attendant. And when they were here, I was like, €1 to get a cart. No, thank you. But I didn't realize they gave it back for a long time. So anyway, that's
you never know what kind of day someone could be having. And I know people say, well, I don't need ChainMeet. My friendships are fine. He's fine. She's fine. I'm fine. We're all fine. But I don't know how many people knew that I struggled. Maybe some did, but I don't always know what struggles you may have. But all I have to do is just say, hey, Charla, let's just meet for coffee. And maybe that's the day that I can encourage you and just affirm you. It doesn't have to be you telling me all your innermost struggles. Just sometimes just the attention and the focus, it feels good. And just sometimes you can make a difference in someone's life, like Gina did for me, and didn't even realize it.
So organizationally, how is the idea for it to be kind of a movement? And when you have intentionally called somebody up to have a chain meet, and the reason you call it chain, I got a hair right here. The reason you got it chain is because it's a chain reaction kind of thing. It worked for you, so you did for others, and
keep it going,
and keeping it going. And that's a big deal.
Yeah. And just keep it going. Repeat the chain meets. God gave me the word chain in the dream, and I had to figure it out after that. And it was because, like, my chain, I'm looking at my chain here. When we meet together, here's two people linked together. Well, then I'm hoping either I will do it again or help that person meet with somebody else. And each time we realize that we can impact someone else's life, we do it again. And the more chain meets, the stronger the chain and the stronger the support around us. And when we feel confident and supported and valued and belonging, that's something I struggled with. I just want a sense of belonging. And when we feel all those things, we're more apt to step out and move forward with whatever our dream is, whatever our goals are. And when we don't have that support around us, like a chain, I want to keep this chain of positivity going. That's what motivates people to be their unique selves for the world.
Awesome. So structurally, you got a website, ChainMeet, ChainMeet.org. That the idea is to give people the tools, and you've got a 4-step process. You can talk about that, but give people the first of all, the idea that, hey, maybe I should be a little more social. and then inviting people. So you give them the idea about it perhaps, and then structure, a tiny bit of structure on, or a outline on how to do that. And then perhaps I think that the movement is like there'll be people sending selfies of their chain meets back in and encouraging others to, and telling the stories and encouraging others to do the same. And it's a nonprofit, so that you take, I'm sure you take donations and encouragement on your site, and then you've got all your social media. It's ChainMeet on Facebook, right? And ChainMeet Life on Instagram, I believe. And then you're Sue Welch. I'm sure you're there, some in there as well. So
yes, the website talks about the 4-step process: meet, treat, eat, repeat. So it's kind of simple. Just to break it down, what we've already said is that you meet, make the invite. The beginning of it starts with the invite. Just that itself, hey, it made my day. So the invite, the meet, and then the treat. How does it make you feel when you're treated? I don't necessarily grade what the treat is. It could be a steak dinner or a pizza or a burger. That would be nice. But even a cup of coffee was nice. It was just the treat. So that's the second step. It's just offer that treat. When you're at the counter ordering, just say, hey, it's on me. Just that makes a difference. And then the eat part is what I call the fellowship part, as you're eating together. And isn't there something kind of profound about sharing food and drink together? It does enhance your experience and your connection together. So, and it helps to eat while you're talking. It kind of helps to do that, kind of breaks down the barriers. And then the repeat is what I actually say is the most important, because it's for your personal growth as well as for your connections. And the more you repeat it, the more, what I say is that the more you inspire forward, the more you inspire within. So you can, and you'll want to inspire forward again. So the website does focus on those 4 steps. And we recently became a nonprofit because it's a mental wellness tool. It's just a resource. There are other methods out there to be yourself for others. So this is a resource, but it's fun. It's easy. I mean, it's so super simple. It's affordable. It's doable for anyone. And that's why we recently went nonprofit, because I just want to be able to, I don't want to charge for this. So it's free to use. And I would love to hear stories when people do their chain meets. And yes, post them on Facebook. Take a picture of yourself with your friend, post it. And what I ask is that you would tag Chain Meet on Facebook. If you're on Instagram, tag Chain Meet Life and tag your friend and tag the restaurant that you went to. And just say, hey, chain meet with my friend and we had a great time. You don't have to write a whole lot. But I'd love to hear stories of people who were transformed by a friend and the focus that friend gave on them. Plus, I would love to hear stories on how you, somebody out there, were able to make an impact in someone else's life, to breathe hope and support in someone else's life.
So even, I mean, if you did it several times a week, it could add up. So it could even just meet in a park and play, have fun, go swing, sit on a seesaw if they still have those, and just find something that works for you in your normal. Hey, I'm going to the grocery store. Why don't you run with me? Why, and you don't necessarily have to spend money, and it doesn't. And you don't have to go to the big bucks store. There's a lot of independent coffee shops, or that are a lot less expensive than that. And actually just meeting face to face is great, but even just picking up like you said, the very first thing, picking up the phone and having a real conversation and listening with, this is where you could actually have training, how people can learn to be engaged and listen. And because I think, and it probably ought to be a rule, you don't have your phone going all the time, right? You don't have, Eliane, my friend, is another show host. She's got, they're having, I don't know if it's weekly or whatever. Anyway, they're having events now and then that you just don't take your phone.
Stump, or I'm trying to think what she calls it. I do remember seeing that. And
yeah. So there's a lot of positive things happening in our world. I'm like as horrific as sometimes they seem. and these floods and these things that were hurricanes that are, as we speak, probably devastating some places,
Well, we're losing our ability to see each other and meet face to face because of digital communication, which is great. It's awesome, it's convenient, but it really can't replace personal human connections that we were created for. God created us for each other, and we
relationship is, so it's, when we talk, I don't talk about religion much. I talk about relationship. I believe religion has kind of divided us in so many ways, but relationship with the Creator and with your fellow man. And something just occurred to me while you were just speaking, and we mentioned the hurricanes and things. So a lot of times communities become much closer after a disaster, after something happens, and nobody wants those things to happen, but it does bring people together, and so there's another aspect, I guess, of that a lot of communities come out stronger.
We realize the importance of each other.
Yeah, we can't do it. We can't do it alone. We can't,
and we're not, and that's great, really, because we're not meant to.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, that just occurred to me too. I mean, I've known that, but you witness it whenever there's a crisis. People show up. People come out of the woodworks to help, and they send help from all over. I know that's a huge. I guess that's an upside. I mean, when I think and everything gives thanks. I am thankful. I live in gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. When I'm not even saying what I'm thankful for, because I'm not thinking about what I'm thinking about. Just thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And when you live in that gratitude, and everything is always working out for me, when you live in those, if you can just live in those positive mindsets, that even when it doesn't look like it's working out for you, you're still where you are. And if you might as well find the best you can out of each moment, because you can't change it. You can't change where you are.
But it just helps to have the support and the love around you. And
exactly.
We're there to support each other and uplift each other. And what I realize is that my excuse was that I don't feel comfortable doing that. Who am I to do that? And I don't know how to do that. And I'm uncomfortable doing that, but those were all excuses, and we're called to uplift and support each other, but it helps to have an easy way to do it. And that is why I created ChainMeet, to put it out there to help others. I didn't like the way I felt about myself. And when I see someone who is like that, I feel bad for them too. I feel compassion on them and say, here's something you can try. Okay, ChainMeet may not be the world's best thing that came in, but yeah, it is. But it's just something that you can try. What do you have to lose by calling a friend and say, hey, let's just meet for coffee or meet at the park, and here, have a piece of candy. Just share something, share yourself.
And I think you mentioned somewhere that, really, I think there's a lot of disconnected and lonely people, and maybe it's not always a friend. Maybe it's somebody, a neighbor that you don't see, or that's a shut-in that you could actually take a piece of pie to, or a cup of coffee, and you can't change. One of my sayings: you can't change the world, but you can change your world, which changes the world.
And it's okay if it's just one person at a time.
Absolutely.
Because when you help someone feel better, they will likely do the same. Maybe they're not reaching out to other people because they don't feel comfortable doing that. So when you help them, they can help someone else who can also help someone else. And there is that chain of, I want this chain of positivity. That's why I like to see this as a movement. It's alive, a ripple effect of just positive affirmation, spreading from one friend to another. Just keep it going. We have so much negativity in this world. And something it made me think of before is that I used to believe that if I put someone else down or gossip, I would feel better. So here we are. If I lower somebody, well, there I am above. But then that doesn't happen either. Degrading other people can't lift anyone up. So just give it a try. It sounds counterintuitive to focus on you, ask you about you, encourage you, make it all about you. Well, what about me? But that's the beauty of one-on-ones with ChainMeet. That's why we focus on one-on-ones. That's the beauty of it, is because it comes back, and it comes back real and organic, not fake and forced. and telling everybody and even myself how great I am.
I agree so strongly I've just never been much, gossip is not something I care to participate in even a little bit. And in fact, as a flight attendant, we'd sitting on the jump seat and, looking at People magazine or Inquirer or whatever they were looking at at the time. I was like, I have too much going on in my own life. I don't need to know what's going on in anybody else's life. I don't care. I don't care that about their stories, the celebrities and all that kind of stuff. I care that some people need help or hope or whatever. I'm an encourager too, man. And your Facebook banner is something about everyone. I have a saying, encouragers need encouragement too. And
yes. Yes.
So even though nobody's 100% positive every second of every day, and even me, that I really am most of the time, but sometimes I'm not, so
who knows that somebody will come along that day or the next day and make
a difference,
make a difference. And now, I don't mean to tout the book, but I do have a chapter in here for people like me who didn't know what to say. Well, okay, now we meet, but what do I say? And again, I wanted to help people ask questions. There's a whole page of just different questions people can ask to get the conversation going and to
show the book again and say the name. Be proud you've written a book and published. This is great. And it's called, well, I can't see it, but ChainMeet.
It says ChainMeet to inspire forward, simple steps to boost your self-confidence, elevate friendships, and make a positive impact in the world. So you can do all those three with one little book, one little.
It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon. So so this is, my sense is that there's so many lonely people. And one of the things that and they don't necessarily realize it themselves sometimes, I'm pretty sure, but I had a bunch of 30-somethings living with me, and, I witnessed they're always, here, and even in the same room and all that. There's a lot of entertainment has risen to, I think, the highest, our values system. If you're strong in your values and you know what your moral values are, your moral compass, and where you spend your time and money is on your is where you can do a check on what your values might really be, even if if you might say it might be family, but if time and money, if you're scrolling all the time, is family really your highest value? So it's just something to think about. But I feel like, if you have a disagreement, so discourse. In my second book, Split Second Transformation, Change Your Words, Change Your Life, 31 Daily Practices. In one word, you can change your life. And discourse is something that I think, discourse, agree to disagree. In this divisive, fearful, angry world that we're witnessing, can we agree to disagree? Here's a sentence. We must have completely different sources of information. How did you learn, where do you find your information? How did you come to that opinion? Or asking and having a discussion rather than losing family and friends in this world right
understand
now.
Each other. You got to have a conversation to understand each other.
And it's not I'm right and you're wrong. I'm not. It's right. I'm right, you're wrong. And so I call it the Jerry Springer mentality, where if you hit somebody over the head with a chair and say, I'm suing you, because you don't agree with me or you made me mad. By the way, nobody can make you angry or mad or upset without your permission. So, just walk around in a shield of an aura of, you can't hurt me. You can't, no matter what you say, I have to take it personally. So when you could have taken what your husband said so personally that you would have spiraled, right? You know?
And I did, until I had to admit he was right. He was right. But
that took a strength of character in you for you to absolutely to recognize and do the self-evaluation. Why would he say that? What do you mean it's not all about me? Yeah. I don't think it's all about me. Well, maybe it is. Maybe every time I think, I'm wondering how I look. And I was very self-conscious too, very shy. young, even in my 20s, I was a flight attendant, but I was still very and uncomfortable in speaking up, and in high school. And so I finally was like, when I hyperventilated, because I had to stand up in a classroom and say introduce myself, I was like, ugh. And one day, and then I was like, wait a minute, everybody else is telling about themselves. All they're caring about is themselves, how nervous they are or not, whatever, but they don't care if I stumble over my words, they don't, it's not, I'm not sure why I got off on that, but I feel like I was so shy, and even people would not think of me as being a quiet and shy person, but I was very.
And then the difference you're making in many people's lives with just a simple hug and a candy bar. And that's what I love about your book, my book, is that it can be so simple. It doesn't have to be hard. And again, the more we have conversations, the more we can understand each other and even understand more of where we come from too. And who knows, sometimes maybe they'll say something that we never even considered. And I love Ronald Reagan had a quote, and he said, all great change starts at the kitchen table, because that is where you sit and talk with each other. And I am shocked sometimes, and actually very saddened, that we will go to restaurants and there's a family there, or even a group of friends, and each one is on their phone in their own little world. But it's what's sad to me is that the parents are on their phone and the kids are on their phone. And it's like, this would be a great time for you guys just to talk to each other and learn about each other and where you're coming from. And
do you think people don't want to? Do you think they just don't know how, or just aren't interested enough in others? See, I don't think they have enough self-love to do that. I mean, there is that, if you don't, if you are only interested in yourself and your opinions and your stuff, it takes effort. And I'm not sure. I mean, I think this is a great start. And I think you were talking at one time about teaching this a little bit on college campuses, or getting it kind of into a little starting there where
a little workshop. Yeah, I do have about an hour's workshop where I'll teach the 4 steps and why, and a little bit deeper in how to do each step and why each step is the way it is, and then get to practice a little mini chain meet with each other. And so I have you split up into twos and count from 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And the ones, for example, will be the treaters. They'll be the initiators, the real friends. I call
the real friends and the
an RF. They're a real friend. In fact, I consider myself an ESRF. I am an expert student real friend, because I haven't arrived and I'm not there yet. I'm still learning. But a real friend is a friend in action, one who is intentional, and that will call the friend, make that treat, and focus on the friend. And then I call the VF is your valued friend, the one that you are going to invite. So I have them split up. The RFs will treat the VFs. I provide the treat, and they just have like 10 or 15 minutes to practice that focused conversation and asking questions. I give them examples of how you got to get that started. And then they'll switch and take turns being the RFs and the VFs. So
that's very cool. So I'm glad we remembered, circled back to that, because I think that's those, your little rocks, are they rocks, the RFs and VFs?
My rock friends, my little mascots, their names are Rock and Roll. And real friends rock, as they like to say. And they call the 2 foundations of others, love, and reciprocity the bedrocks of change. So they're my mascots.
Others, love, and reciprocity, if you can say that word. It's one of those toughies. So this, wow. So I am glad I remembered that piece, because I think that's important, that you do have a workshop. You can speak, or you can perhaps create a mini course or something along that line that will show how to do that. And it's it's just unique, and I can see it. I would love it to be a movement and to get people motivated to and well, I thought I was going to start a movement with candy bar hugs. I have a Facebook group, but I life happens and it's still there, but it's not very active. But it's another thing where, hey, what small thing that made a difference in your life, or what have you done to make a difference? So it's a similar mindset, right? Just
and isn't it a joy when you give someone a hug and a candy bar? There's a joy in treating somebody else nice, supportive, and encouraging, isn't there?
Yes, there is. And I enjoy giving my little tiny book away often. I feel like it's on Amazon, but I carry them with me because as a little treat, right? So
I love it.
Gave it to someone last night at dinner, and so this is kind of it's a tiny thing, tiny book with a big message.
Tiny can be powerful, and that's
I think we're in a Twitter world. We're in the X world, whatever. We're in this short and sweet. Nobody's going to read 4 pages of a email anymore. It's you better get your points across, and better be concise, and like you said, it doesn't have to be complicated. And one of the things in my book, I think it also says, I think it's in the Candy Bar Hugs book, unconditional love and unconditional forgiveness, not unconditional boundaries. So there's that. But and I say, and the harder people are to love, the more they need it. So that's, really people, when you have compassion and empathy and those soft skills or whatever they call that, and just care, compassion.
And we learn that compassion.
And if you don't have it, it doesn't mean you don't have. Yeah, you can. These are learned. These are learned. But you chose. It's all choice. It's all choice. And you chose to take action, to make a difference, to self-introspect enough to make it, to really figure out that you needed self-love. Right. And it wasn't about what's out there. It's about what's in here, and how can I make a difference, and how can I make a difference in your life, which is the self-worth we talked about earlier too.
Yeah. This is nothing wrong with self-worth.
No, self-esteem. I was talking about self-esteem, and is it different than self-esteem is pretty much, about me. I think we were talking about this before the show. And I was like, my son, I was so concerned about his self-esteem, but then it was all, well, you don't hurt my self-esteem. You can't say no. I mean, he kind of takes it and runs with it. And I'm like, well, self-worth is how you treat the others. Self-worth is how you treat someone else. Self-worth is, it fills your worth. It fills your worth. So it's exactly what you're talking about. Self-worth is how you see add value to others, comes back to you as your worth.
Yes. So I also have a weekly email that I put out called, I'd mentioned the word friend-tensional, or intentional friend. And that's what I call it. It's called Friend-tensional Bits. So if I were to ask you, what does that word friend-tensional mean? What would you just automatically think what it would mean?
Friend-tensional, I think, is a darling word. I think it's so cute. And it's about being friends intentionally,
being an intentional friend. So my email, it's very short. I plan it so you can look at it in under 60 seconds. Just short and sweet, just little tips and bits about being a friend-tensional friend, being a real friend.
And we can always use ideas on what that looks like. So good for you. That's great. And how can people get on that email list if that's something of interest to them?
If you go to the site, ChainMeet.org, and there are several areas on there where you can just sign up for the email. And there's no obligation. There's no cost. It's just Tuesday mornings, little tips.
That's really sweet. So are they things that you write yourself generally?
I do. I love quotes. So
I love quotes too.
I take quotes and I say, oh, that's a good quote. That's for business. I'm going to tweak it for us little ordinary people.
Well, that's great. No, I'm grateful for you. This is, it goes fast. It's already time's up. So thank you so much, Sue Welch with ChainMeet. I'm so ChainMeet.org. I'm just grateful for our friendship and our time together, and you're inspiring to me. Yeah, I appreciate
You are too. This was like a little hug to me. Charla's hug.
Virtual hugs. We're wanting to get real hugs. That's the deal. So
Yes.
that's the goal, right? Have real skin on. Hugs
Face
with
to face.
people with skin
Yes.
on.
Touch is important too.
Very important.
We need physical touch.
Absolutely. And I think we've been isolated a little bit too long. So time to meet up and pass it on.
Yep. Time to get real.
Get real, authentic, learn to love people. And I'm going to, I almost nearly always say at the end, you're perfect, exactly who and where you are right now. You don't have to be anything. God loves you exactly who and where you are right now. You can't do anything to be loved more or less by God. I love you, and I always end with my choice, which has been my name means joy in Greek and chat in Spanish, but I always end my show with and choose joy.
Parting is such sweet sorrow. The Charla Anderson Show, encouraging you to stand strong and courageous with bold faith, no fear, immense hope, kindness, and love, especially towards yourself. Visit charlaanderson.com for replays, blogs, and more on her ever-expanding website, as well as watch her live TV show on winwinwomen.tv, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And so that we can continue learning together and growing this community of beautiful souls, we invite you to share the Charla Anderson Show with your circle of friends. Until we meet again next week, remember always, choose joy.